A ghost is back to haunt Europe. The ghost of fascism. Nowhere is this more obvious than in Italy, where this dangerous ideology was born. Decades after Mussolini, a new wave of far-right sentiment is sweeping the nation. This comeback threatens Italian democracy and has sent shockwaves across Europe. It's a massive earthquake shaking the core of Italian society. The rise of the far right has thrown Italy into deep uncertainty. The world is watching nervously, wondering if the lessons of the past have been forgotten. To understand how serious things are now, we must look back at Italy's troubled past. The shadow of Benito Mussolini, the dictator who dragged Italy into fascism, still hangs over the nation's history. His legacy, a toxic mix of nationalism, authoritarianism and violence, left a permanent scar on the Italian psyche. Mussolini's rise to power in the 1920s was marked by silencing dissent, weakening democratic institutions and persecuting minorities. His regime, built on a cult of personality and fueled by aggressive expansionism, ultimately led Italy down a path of destruction and war. The similarities between Mussolini's era and the current political climate are unsettling. The language of nationalism, the demonization of immigrants, and the attacks on democratic norms echo the rhetoric of the fascist past. This eerie resonance is not lost on those who remember the horrors of that dark chapter in Italian history. The resurgence of the far right in Italy is a stark reminder that the ghosts of the past can return to haunt the present. It is a cautionary tale about the fragility of democracy and the importance of vigilance in safeguarding its principles. At the forefront of this far-right resurgence stands Giorgia Meloni, the leader of the Brothers of Italy party. Meloni, a powerful speaker known for her nationalist rhetoric, has become a divisive figure in Italian politics. Her rapid rise to prominence is a testament to her political skills and the anxieties she has successfully tapped into. Meloni's political journey began in the youth wing of the neo-fascist Italian social movement, a party with direct links to Mussolini's regime. Her early political activism instilled in her a deep belief in national sovereignty, traditional values, and a strong dislike of immigration. Over the years, Meloni has honed her political skills, transforming herself into a savvy operator capable of navigating the complexities of Italian politics. She has softened her rhetoric, presenting herself as a defender of traditional values and a bulwark against globalization and immigration. This carefully crafted image has resonated with a segment of the Italian electorate disillusioned with the status quo. Meloni's ascent to power is a stark reminder of the shifting political landscape in Italy and beyond. Her success is a testament to the power of populism, nationalism, and a deep-seated yearning for a return to a perceived glorious past. Since taking office, Meloni's government has pursued policies that reflect its far-right ideology. This has sparked heated debate and protests across Italy, deepening the divisions within Italian society. Meloni's supporters praise her for her tough stance on immigration and her commitment to traditional values, while her critics accuse her of eroding democratic norms and appealing to xenophobic sentiments. One of the most controversial aspects of Meloni's agenda is her hardline stance on immigration. Her government has implemented stricter border controls, making it increasingly difficult for asylum seekers and refugees to enter Italy. This policy has been condemned by human rights groups, who accuse Meloni of turning her back on Italy's humanitarian obligations. Meloni's government has also targeted LGBTQ+ rights, rolling back protections and limiting the rights of same-sex couples. This move has been met with outrage from LGBTQ+ activists and their allies, who see it as a discriminatory attack on their fundamental rights. Furthermore, Meloni's government has clashed with the media, accusing critical outlets of bias and attempting to stifle dissent. This crackdown on press freedom has raised concerns about the future of democracy in Italy. The rise of Giorgia Meloni and the Brothers of Italy party has not gone unnoticed on the world stage. Governments and organizations around the world are closely watching the developments in Italy, wary of the potential implications for European stability and the global fight against far-right extremism. The European Union, of which Italy is a founding member, has expressed concern over Meloni's far-right agenda. EU officials have warned that any backsliding on democratic values and human rights could have consequences for Italy's standing within the bloc. The United States, a key ally of Italy, has also voiced its unease over Meloni's rise to power. The Biden administration has stated that it will judge Meloni's government based on its actions, particularly regarding its commitment to democratic norms and international cooperation. Human rights organizations have been particularly vocal in their criticism of Meloni's government. They have condemned her policies on immigration, LGBTQ+ rights and press freedom, warning that they pose a serious threat to fundamental freedoms in Italy. To effectively counter the far-right's resurgence, it is essential to understand the factors fueling its appeal. The far-right thrives on fear, exploiting anxieties and insecurities to advance its agenda. By dissecting the anatomy of this fear, we can begin to dismantle the narratives that underpin far-right ideology. One key factor is economic anxiety. In an era of globalization, automation and economic uncertainty, many people feel left behind. The far-right exploits this insecurity, blaming immigrants, minorities and globalist elites for economic woes and promising to restore a bygone era of prosperity. Cultural anxiety also plays a significant role. The rapid pace of social change, coupled with the decline of traditional values, has left many feeling disoriented and nostalgic for a simpler time. The far-right capitalizes on this nostalgia, presenting itself as the guardian of tradition and the defender of a homogeneous national identity. The decline of traditional media and the rise of social media have also created fertile ground for far-right propaganda. Social media platforms, with their echo chambers and algorithms designed to amplify engagement, have become powerful tools for spreading misinformation and stoking fear. The rise of the far right in Italy is not merely an Italian problem. It is a symptom of a broader crisis facing democracies worldwide. The same forces that have propelled Meloni to power, economic anxiety, cultural resentment, and the erosion of trust in institutions, are at play in many other countries. The stakes are high. If Meloni's government succeeds in consolidating its power and dismantling democratic norms, it could embolden far-right movements elsewhere. Italy, once a bastion of resistance against fascism, could become a model for aspiring autocrats seeking to dismantle democratic institutions from within. The international community must not stand idly by as democracy is eroded from within. It is crucial to support civil society organizations in Italy and elsewhere that are fighting to defend democratic values, promote tolerance, and counter far-right propaganda. Moreover, it is essential to address the root causes of far-right populism, such as economic inequality, social exclusion, and the spread of misinformation. By tackling these issues head-on, we can create a more just and equitable society that is less susceptible to the siren song of extremism. In these challenging times, it is crucial to reaffirm our commitment to democratic values. Education is paramount. We must educate future generations about the horrors of fascism and the importance of democratic values like freedom of speech and the rule of law. By instilling these values, we create a resilient society. We must hold leaders accountable and support a free press. Italy stands at a crossroads. The path it chooses in the coming years will have profound consequences, not only for the country itself, but also for the future of Europe and the wider world. Will Italy succumb to the siren song of far-right populism, or will it reaffirm its commitment to democratic values and chart a new course? The outcome remains uncertain. Much will depend on the choices made by Italy's leaders, the resilience of its democratic institutions, and the willingness of its citizens to defend the freedoms they hold dear. The international community must remain vigilant and engaged, offering support to those fighting for democracy and human rights in Italy. The struggle against fascism is far from over. It is a battle that must be fought and won anew by each generation. The future of Italy hangs in the balance, a stark reminder that democracy is a precious and fragile thing, one that must be nurtured and defended if it is to survive.